Hello MCU fans, today we're exploring a question that may quietly reshape how we view Endgame. What if Doctor Doom was born from one of the Avengers' final mistakes? There's no shortage of theories about why Tony Stark and Doctor Doom look alike, but this one takes a different route. The theory begins with Steve Rogers' final mission, returning the Infinity Stones after the time heist. Hulk makes the rules clear, each stone must be returned to the exact moment it was taken, or else new branches, new realities will form. Steve agrees. He's gonna clip all the branches. But when you actually walk through what that task involves, things get complicated very quickly. Some stones are simple. Returning the time stone to the ancient one is straightforward, she's literally waiting for it. Others, not so much. Take the Mind Stone. Steve no longer has Loki's scepter, only the stone itself. Does it need to go back into the scepter? Does it need to be returned to Hydra? Or is it enough to place it back into the timeline at the moment it left the branch? Even Endgame never gives us a clear answer. The Reality Stone is even worse. It was extracted from Jane Foster in an unstable, gaseous form. But Steve is holding a solid stone. How exactly does he return that without altering events? Then there's the Power Stone. Nebula was captured at the moment things went wrong in 2014. Is Steve returning the stone into the middle of that disaster? Or is that branch already compromised? And the Soul Stone. Even Red Skull implies it's not something you can simply put back. All of that is strange, but none of it compares to the Space Stone. The Space Stone is where this theory really takes shape. Because Loki escapes with the Tesseract in 2012, that version of the stone is immediately pruned by the TVA. Steve never gets the chance to return it. That forces Tony and Steve to make a risky jump to April 7th, 1970. This matters. In 1970, the Space Stone is still inside the Tesseract, locked away in a vault. Tony burns it open, retrieves the Tesseract, and escapes, but not before running into Howard Stark. That conversation is brief, emotional, and deeply unsettling for Tony, who realizes he's traveled back to a point before his own birth. It's a quiet scene, but it's also the moment where everything can go wrong. Because if Steve has to return the Space Stone to the exact instant it left the timeline, that moment now includes Howard Stark's presence, altered security, and events that never occurred in the sacred timeline. And here's the key question. What if Steve failed to properly close the 1970 branch? Hulk warned them, if the stones aren't returned correctly, they don't just leave branches. They create nasty alternate realities. The TVA cleaned up Loki's escape. That branch was handled. But the TVA never confirms the fate of every other branch Steve touched. The Russo brothers have also hinted that Robert Downey Jr.'s return is tied directly to the story, something they can't explain yet. That alone suggests that Tony Stark's story may not be finished, just transformed. Now consider this. What if the 1970 branch was never clipped? A world where Tony Stark grows up under different circumstances. A world where certain threats and heroes, Fantastic Four and the mutants, were never suppressed by He Who Remains. A world where Tony Stark doesn't become Iron Man. A world where he becomes Doctor Doom. This aligns surprisingly well with What If Season 3. In What If Season 3, it showed us realities where mutants suddenly appear, where Doom exists, where the sacred timeline's limits are gone, and it suggests Doom wasn't part of the original plan until someone broke it. And that someone may have been Steve Rogers. So what if Doomsday and Secret Wars don't happen because of Kang or Doom alone, but because Captain America failed his mission? What if Doctor Doom exists because one branch was left behind unnoticed? But that's the theory. Let me know what you guys think. I read everything and I'd love to hear where you land on this.